Romance, who loves to nod and sing, with drowsy head and folded wing, among the green leaves as they shake, far down within some shadowy lake. To me a painted parquet hath been in most familiar bird, taught me my alphabet to say, to lisp my very earliest word. While in the wild wood I did lie, a child with a most knowing eye, of late eternal condor years, so shake the very heaven on high. With tumulent as the thunder by, I have no time for idle cares, though gazing on the unquiet sky, and when the hour with calmer wings its down upon the spirit flings, with little time with lyre and rhyme to while away forbidden things, my heart would feel to be a crime unless it troubles with the strings. So just an overview of this poem written by Edgar Allan Poe. Edgar Allan Poe is a very famous poem writer in which most of his poems are ambiguous, which is a literary device, by the way. But in this poem, to me, he is saying that love is a bird, and the bird stayed with him through his childhood, and he could love as a child, but now that he is an adult, he cannot love anymore, and the bird has flown away. This can be interpreted in a couple different ways. One, maybe he is too busy to love, or maybe since a lot of his family members and the people that he loved died from tuberculosis, maybe it's like a curse or something that is preventing him to love the people who he loved before. But enough about that. Now let's get into the actual poem and what the poem actually means line by line. So the first two lines are romance who loves to nod and sing with drowsy head and folded wing. Now first, what is romance? Romance is a very lovable thing. It's where people like to go out and have fun with each other and have a good time, which they nod, they say okay, they say that they're happy to take a good time, they're happy to take time out of their free time to have a good time with the people who they love. And sing, that can usually refer to parties where people like to sing with them, or people like to sing when they're in a happy mood. People don't like to sing when they're in a sad mood. But then in line number 2, with drowsy head and folded wing, this quickly changes into a negative referring, because drowsy head means that they're not feeling well, like something is wrong. And folded wing usually means that either they're shy or they're afraid to do something wrong. So the next two lines are among the green leaves as they shake far down within some shadowy lake. So what happens when a tree shakes? Leaves usually fall down from it, and those leaves are going into a shadowy lake. Now the word shadowy in this case usually creates a feeling that is unloved, isolated, making the person feel like they're not supposed to be there. And this is kind of what Edgar Allan Poe is feeling at the moment. He's not feeling love. He's not feeling the romance that he wants. Now we get to lines 5 and 6. To me a painted parquet hath been most familiar bird. Now a parquet is a wooden piece of flooring in a house, and that usually stays there for a while. And the reason why it's painted is his childhood has been painted, and all the things that has happened to him has been painted and has stayed there for a while. And then he finally sees this bird that he's talking about. And hath in this case usually means like a different word, have, in which he sees this familiar bird, which is explained in the next couple of lines, which I'll get to in just a couple of seconds. Now we get to the next two lines, which are, taught me my alphabet to say, to list my very earliest word. Now, this bird apparently taught him how to speak, how to learn the language. Now, that can be referred to a couple different things. It can be referred to his childhood, his maybe even his parents, that which he is reflecting to or he's thinking about of how he's been loved in the past and how people took care of him and how people taught him. And where he is now is not the same thing. He's empty, he's unloved, he's unwanted, which doesn't make him feel what he wants. Now we get to lines 9 and 10, in which it says, "While in the wild wood I did lie, a child with a most knowing eye." So this is a little bit of an alliteration, actually, but this wood is spelled Wood, which explains wildwood, meaning he's in the woods, he's lost, he's in the forest. And a most knowing eye could mean that it could be his own eye. He's trying to find a way out. It could be someone else's eye, which he's helping him. He's feeling loved because of it. Or it can be that bird that he explained of before, helping him, giving him comfort because he's in the woods alone by himself. Now we get to lines 11 and 12, in which it says, "Of late eternal condor years, so shake the very heaven on high." Well, what is a condor? First of all, a condor is a very type of bird. I believe it flies very high into the sky, and that it says very heaven on high, in which up there people usually refer a bird to freedom. It's free, it can fly around on itself, it can make loops on itself. It doesn't have to worry about other stuff that are going on, and that's kind of what Edgar Allan Poe wants. He doesn't want to worry about romance anymore. He's already had enough of it. He knows that it's not going to work for him anymore, and he wants that freedom in order to forget about it. Now we get to lines 13 and 14, and this is actually quite interesting because it says, "With the tumult," sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly, "as they thunder by, I have no time for idle cares." So tumult is a very noisy sound, so they could actually refer to the condors that we were talking about in lines 11 to 12, but this has like the opposite meaning of the last two lines, in which they fly by him and he has no time for idle care, meaning he doesn't care about him, meaning he's focusing on something. And the thing he's focusing on this poem, or as we can see from this poem, the only thing he can be focusing on is romance. So maybe he changed his mind maybe from those couple of lines, and maybe now he's going back to seeking for that romance that he once wanted when he was a child, and now he wants as an adult again. Now we get to lines 15 and 16, and we see, "Through gazing on the unquiet sky, and when an hour with calmer wings." Now this actually refers back to 11 and 12 again, where unquiet means still. So he's gazing at the sky. It's so still. It's so calm. He doesn't have to worry about romance anymore. He only has to do is worry about his next mission or his next step in life, rather than missing of what he loved or how people loved him when he was a child. When an hour with calmer wings. So an hour means he just wants this little bit of time. This little bit of time, he doesn't have to worry about stuff. He can just relax about it and not have to worry about the things that are happening in his life. Now we get to lines 17 and 18, where it says, "It's down upon my spirit flings that little time with lyre and rhyme." So spirit flings, he's referring to, he's feeling something. He's feeling something's either not right, or he's feeling he has to do something. And little time and rhyme mean, so he has to do something. There's something that is coming up. There's something that he has to do. There's something that doesn't feel right to him. So, and I believe that will come up soon in the next couple of lines. Now we have the last three lines of this poem, and it is: to wail away forbidden things, my heart would feel to be a crime, unless it trembles with the strings. So, to while away forbidden things, there are some things he does not like that feel forbidden to him, kind of like a pet peeve, and that he has to keep them away from him in order for him to keep calm, for him to maintain his thought about not loving anymore. But that then we get into the next line where it says, "My heart would feel to be a crime." Well, whenever you hear heart like that, it usually refers to love and usually refers to romance, unless it trembles with the strings. And these strings, these are some obstacles that are causing him to not reach his goal. So now we come to literary devices, in which we'll start out with ethos, pathos, and logos. Ethos is about character, pathos is about emotions, and logos is about logic. Now, this poem about character with ethos. Edgar Allan Poe cannot decide whether to keep romance or to let romance go, and that also goes into his emotions, in which that is why, or that could be one of the reasons why he committed suicide, because most of his family members that he loved died from tuberculosis. And then we get to logos, which is about logic, and I do not find much logic in these poems, nor do I do in many other poems, but especially this one. He cannot make a decision on whether to keep looking for romance or just to leave it alone and just forget about it for the rest of his life. So what other literary devices do we have to talk about in this poem? We have similes, which don't really refer to this, and then we have metaphors, which do refer to this, and which the first one is about the shadowy lake. Well, the shadowy lake, that does not mean that like a UFO goes over and just makes it dark. No, it's just it's very if you're deep down in that lake, it still is dark, and it makes you feel lonely. It makes you feel unloved, like I said before. But we also have later with tumult as they thunder by. They remember they refer to the condors so that flew by. When they fly by, they don't magically make thunder and just blast the ground and make you freak out every time they fly by. No, it's just how loud they are when they fly by, um, which Edgar Allan Poe is trying to ignore these condors in order to finish his mission, which he started.